Literature and cultural aspects of Karnataka. The cultural heritage of Karnataka is rich and colorfully diverse. The Kannada world saw their entry through Halmadi inscription of 450 AD. The Kannada literature saw its first work entitled Kaviraja Marga during 850 AD, and in modern times it is blessed with 8 Jnanapita awardees. Literary activity in other languages of neighboring areas and purely local languages like Tulu and Kodava is also considerable. Journalism in Kannada has its history dating back to 1843 and has many achievements to its credit. Karnataka has outstanding personalities of historical significance. In the musical map of India, the state has bright spots, whether it is Hindustani or Karnataka music. In fact, Karnataka music originated in this land, and in the field of dance and art too, Karnataka has a creditable achievements. Yakshagana, both folk and elite art, is flourishing here. The state's tradition in folk arts is also colorful when one thinks of the cultural scene. Shivarama Karanta, Kuvempu, Dara Bendre, Science Star Rajkumar, Maya Rao, Mallikarjuna Mansoor, T. Chaudhaya, K.K. Hebbar, Pandit Bhimchand Joshi, Gangubaya Hangal, U.S. Krishna Rava, and Chandrabhaga Devi, the dance couple, B.V. Karant, U.R. Anantmurthy, Girish Karnar, Chandrasekhar Kambar are few bright faces that shine forth in the Kannada literature. Recently, the central government has accorded a classical language status to Kannada language also. Sanskrit, Tamil, Malayalam, and Telugu and Odia are also other 5 Indian languages who have also obtained this status. An attempt is made to survey the cultural panorama of the Karnataka in this essay. Let us start with the literature. Kannada literature. Kannada literature has history dating back to at least 1500 years. In fact, the folk literature began even earlier. The oldest available work in Kannada is, however, a book on poetics called Kaviraja Marga in 850 AD. It is attributed to the court of Sri Vijaya of Rashtrakuta king Amogavarsha Nrupatunga. The work not only discusses figures of speech like rasa and dhvani, but also gives descriptions about the geographical boundaries of the Karnataka as well as its dynamic life and culture. In Sangama literature, we find the word Erumenath, whose Kannada version is Eruminad. This Eruminad includes Kodagu, Dakshina Kannada, Mysuru, and some portions of northern Kerala. The earliest Kannada prose work is Sivakotacharya's Vaddaradhane, which even this today is considered as a masterpiece. It is a collection of 19 Jaina stories. Pampa's Vikramarjuna Vijaya, based on the Mahabharata and was written in Champu style, that is, a mixture of prose and poetry. It is a unique Kannada and it is the earliest epic work in Kannada. Pampa has been described as the Kalidasa of Kannada. Being a Jain poet, he also wrote Adi Purana, which was based on Jinasena's Mahapurana. The 12th century saw a sea of change in Kannada literature, both in its content and style. It was due to the rise and growth of Veerashaivism. It de-recognized untouchability and saw women as equals. It liberated Kannada from the clutches of Sanskrit. The moving spirit behind this movement was Basveshwara, who was a minister in the court of King Bijjala. His vachanas, which can be called as prose poems, were famous. They have their origin in folk literature and folk culture and they aimed to liberate man from the bondage of untruth and ignorance. Allama Prabhu, Akka Mahadevi, Chennabasavana, Siddharama, Madivala Machayya, Dohara Kakaya, Goggavve, Urilinga Peddi, and others of the Dalita origin were the other few among the many important Vachanakaras. After Basavanna, the greatest influence wielded on Kannada literature was Harihara, who used an innovative form of poetry called Ragale. His Basavaraja Devara Ragale, Nambiyanna Ragale, and Mahadevi Akkanna Ragale are the excellent examples of this genre. His poetical excellence was Girija Kalyana in a Champu classic manner. The 16th century saw Veerashaiva poets of extraordinary merit. Sarvajna, who was the real Vairagi, had no settled home and no religion, and he wrote Sarvajna Padagalu in Tripadi style. This work is really a compendium of wit and wisdom. Dasakuta, or the Vaishnava movement led by Purandaradasa, who is also considered as the father of Karnataka music, influenced much of the Kannada literature and culture. Through his kirtanas, he propounded the Dvaita philosophy and gave an impetus to Bhakti movement. Kanakadasa, though hailing from the Kurba community, followed the steps of Purandaradasa. He is credited with several kirtanas apart from the authorship of Mohana Tarangini and Ramadhyana Charite. The Karnataka culture reached its zenith during Vijayanagara Empire. Narayanappa's Kumaravyasa, Karnataka Bharata, Kathamanjari, and Gadugina Bharata are the finest examples of the literature of this period. Chamrasa's Prabhulinga Leela is another excellent work of this period. Post-Renaissance movement saw a 4-lined folk meter called Sangatya, which was particularly suitable for singing. The Vadiyars of Mysore gave a boost to Kannada literature, especially during Chikkadevaraya Vadiyar's period, that is, during 1672 to 1704. He himself wrote Chikkadevaraja Binnapa. Another noteworthy poetess of this period is Sanchi Honnamma, and she wrote Hadibadaya Dharma in Sangitya Meeta. Vadiyars also started the Raja's English school in 1833, and this, along with the expansion of the missionary activities, increased the Western influence on Kannada literature. Chamaraja Vadiyar's period saw a new era in Kannada literature. M.S. Puttanna's Madidunnu Maharaya was the great example. Detective stories like Parimala, Arindamana Sahasagalu of D. Venkatachalaya, Kittle's Dictionary, Ch. Vasudevaya's Balabodhe belong to this period. Muddanna's Rameshwamedha is an epic episode in the prose. This has a tinge of modern writing. In 1921, B.M. Srikantaya heralded the Navodaya movement. His English Geetagalu was a free rendering of some great English poems. Around this period, Kuppalli Venkatappa Puttappa, that is Kuvempu, switched over from English writing to Kannada, and the culmination of his work resulted in epic Sri Rama Darshanam, and it was written in a blank verse. Puttappa's social novels as Kanuru Subbamma Heggadati and Maligalalli Mudumugalu are equally well acclaimed. Among the works of 1930s, D.V. Gundappa's Manku Timmana Kagga stands out as a jewel. It is considered to be unique in the sense that it contains ethical principles, philosophical truths, and experiences of life. It is interesting to note that except U.R. Ananthamurthy and Girish Karnad, the other 6 Jnanapita awardees in Kannada, namely Kuempu, Dara Bendre, Shivaram Karanth, Masti Venkatesh Iyengar, V.K. Gokak, and Chandrasekhar Kambar, have been writing since the Navodaya period. Dara Bendre won the award primarily for Nakutanti, which was a metaphysical poetic work. His popularity was based more on his writings drawn from the folk culture. Shivarama Karantha's writings range from encyclopedia to novels, essays, drama, and poetry. Murali Mannige is his often mentioned novel, but Bettada Jiva, Chomanadudi, and Mukujjiya Kanasugalu are also noteworthy. His works mirror the cultural ethos of Dakshina Kannada. Masti Venkatesh Iyengar is primarily noted as a short story writer. His Channabasava Nayaka and Chikka Veera Rajendra are historical novels dealing with the limitations of the monarchy, and Subbanna later was a long story which reached a metaphysical heights. V.K. Gokak's Bharata Sindhu Rashmi, which seeks to find answers for the modern man's dilemma in ancient epics, is famous. Significantly, Ananthamurthi's Sanskara and Bhava also seeks inspiration from the traditional wisdom. Girish Karnad, basically a playwright whose dramas are staged many times all over India, have been translated to various Indian and foreign languages. Dr. Chandrasekhar Kambara is another Jnanapita Award recipient who is a poet, folklorist, and a playwright. His plays revolve around folk or mythology interlinked with contemporary issues. K.S. Narasimha Swami's Mysuru Mallige is a collection of poems with love and separation as the theme. It is a landmark of Navodaya period. G.P. Rajaratnam's Ratnana Padagalu perhaps stands unique in the world literature in seeking truth, a beauty in drunken man's gay gibberish. Puti Narasimhachar's Gokula Nirgamana has Krishna's separation from Radha as its theme. It again reached spiritual heights. Guru Ramaswamy Iyengar chose the easy form of portraying the life of rural Karnataka. His Halliya Chitragalu is considered the supreme example of his writings. In the mid-40s, the Navodaya movement gave way to Pragatishila Chalwali, and Anna Krishna Rao was its torch bearer. He is mainly noted for his novels such as Sandhya Raga, Udaya Raga, Natasarvabhauma, Grahini, and Kanneeru. Basavaraja Kattimani, hailing from North Karnataka, wrote Ni Nanna Muttabeda, Shivadara Janivara, Nanu Polisanagidde, portrayed the other world behind facade of Kavi and Kaki. Tarasu started as a progressive writer with novels like Hamsagite, Masanada Hoo, and Munjavininda Munjavu. Found his forte in historical novels, and they were woven around his birthplace Chitradurga, and Durgastamana is the finest example of his writing. Niranjana, who was an active communist during freedom struggle, wrote such down-to-earth novels as Durada Betta and Rangamana Vatara, as well as Chirasmarane, based on agrarian movement. but his magnum opus is considered to be Mrityunjaya, which dealt with the Egyptian history. Among the women writers, Triveni, whose novels like Bekkina Kannu, Sharapanjara and Muchida Bagalu were essentially psychoanalytical in approach, of Anupama Niranjana, who drew themes from her rich experience as a medical practitioner in stories like Aranyadolondu Arigini, and M.K. Indra, whose forte was the portrayal of Malnad life in novels such as Faniyamma. They were all offshoots of then progressive movement. Next to the progressive movement was the Navya movement. This was influenced mostly by the post-war writers like T.S. Eliot, Auden, Erja Pound, D.H. Lawrence, Jean-Paul Sartre and Camus. Gopalakrishna Adiga was the foremost exponent of the Navya movement, and his Bhumi Gite is said to have been influenced by T.S. Eliot's Wasteland. P. Lankesh collections stories Kudu Kanchana and his absurd play Teregalu, and Sri Krishna Alanahalli's long story Kadu, Shantinatha Desai's Vikshepa, Purnachandra Tejaswini's Nighuda Munishyaru, Nissar Ahmed's poems like Masti and Ramanu Sattadina, U.R. Anantmurthy's stories like Prashne and Clip Joint, Yashwant Chittala's Shikari, Vaisaraya Ballala's Bandaya are some examples of the new writing in Kannada. B.C. Ramachandra Sharma and Chandrasekhar Patil also have made their names as poets and progressive writers. Chandrasekhar Kambara and A.K. Ramanujam widened the frontiers of Navya poetry. Kambara has a good command on the diction and tunes of the folk poetry like Bendre, but he used them to embody the tensions of life caught between tradition and a new culture. He has made mark also as a poet, a novelist and a dramatist. His Jokumara Swami, besides other awards, has won a prestigious Kamala Devi Chattopadhyaya Award. S.L. Bhairappa, who shot into fame with his Vamshavruksha, is one writer who has scrupulously avoided confining himself into any frame. Some of his celebrated works are Anveshane, Grahabanga, Tabbuliyu Ninada Magane, Dhatu, Sarta, Mandra, Tantu, Avarana, etc. He has won the Saraswati Samman Award, which is a prestigious national award. Post-Navya writing is sometimes called as Navyottara Sahit or Bandhaya Sahit or even Dalita Sahitya. The writers belonging to this movement are of the firm view that only Dalits can authentically write about their trials and tribulations, and anything written by others, however impressive it might be, will still remain a second-hand experience. It is interesting to note that Devanuru Mahadeva, who does not like to classify himself into this or that group or isms, has given some of the finest Dalit literature. His Odalada and Kusuma Bale have won many laurels. Chennanna Valikar Siddhalingaya and others are notable Dalit writers. B.T. Lalita Naik, Arvind Malgatti, Geeta Nagabhushan and others are important writers who have identified with their notable Dalit works. The feminist movement began after the Dalit movement. women writers started writing independently about their own experiences that had quite a different dimensions. They not only questioned the male supremacy in society, but they tried to bring about equality with men. The works of R. Kalyanamma, who published Saraswati, a monthly magazine, for 42 years. Nanjanagudu Tirumalamba, who published Sati Hitasahini, and then Karnataka Nandini are notable in this. Saraswati Bai Rajwade, who had a new attitude and a vision of modern education for women. Kadigina Gauramma, Belagere, Janakamma, Shamala Devi, Belagaonkar, and the like writers gained a prominence before 80s among the feminist writers. Foniyamma by M.K. Andara, Itigete by Vijaya Dabbe, Gandasaru by Veena Shanteshwar, Sahana by Sara Abubkar, Sita Rama Ravana by H.V. Savitrama are some such quotable writings. The Karnataka Lekikiyara Sangha, which is a feminist writers organization, was founded in 1978. It is playing an important role in giving a feminist touch to social values and also in mirroring them in the writings of women. There were some writers who did not belong to any typecast, but they had very large readership. For example, Krishnamurti Puranik is one such. At one time, his novels like Dharmadevate faithfully depicted the middle class life of old Mysuru or Hyderabad, Karnataka or Mumbai, Karnataka, and they were a rage among the women readers. Likewise, N. Narasimhaya, who wrote detective stories under this series Purushottamana Sahasagalu, was all very successful, and he wrote as many as 100 of them. He was never seen in any literary meet though. M. Ramamurthy of Mandya continued such type of writing of detective novels. T.K. Ramarao also wrote detective novels. Travelogues are far too many even to make a brief mention here. However, Shivarama Karanta's Apurva Paschima, A.N. Murthy Rao's Apara Vayaskana America Yatre, Gururu Amerikadalli Guru, popular detective story writer T.K. Ramarao's Golada Melondu Suttu, N. Lakshmi Narayana's Nirdekshana Videsha Yatre, D. Javaregowda's Videshadalli Nalku Vara, Krishnananda Kamat's Nanu Amerikadಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ, Navaratna Ram's Parisನಿಂದ ಪ್ರೇಯಸಿಗೆ may be cited as examples. Rashtrakavi Dr. Shivarudrapa's Gangeya Shikaragalli is also famous in this line. Harmonizing Kannada literature with foreign language, thought and frame, many Kannada literacy stalwarts made it rich. B.M. Shri introduced a lyric, Bhavagite, from English and tragedies from Greek into Kannada. Treading in the similar fashion, Bendre, Kuvempu, Putina, Adiga, Gokak, Anantamurthy, Ramachandra Sharma, Sumitanandra Nadig, Nisar Ahmad, etc. Following T.S. Eliot, added Wordsworth, and others wrote modern poetry. G.S. Siddhalingaya, being a senior poet himself, translated English poems to Kannada. M.S. Puttanna, Kailasam, Sriranga, Girish Karnad, Kambara, Lankesh, etc., wrote good books utilizing foreign literature, Indian Puranas, and folklore episodes. Similarly, from Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Sanskrit, Prakrit Bengal, Marathi, Konkani, Hindi, Urdu, and Gujarati languages, with mutual coordination, the translated works have been published in Kannada. And similarly, from Kannada, the translations also have been made into these languages. Recollection of the rare contribution to the Kannada language and the culture by many literary people and the foundation makes an inspiration for the coming generation. The various foundations and the trust are working towards this direction, and they are Dr. Kuempu Pratisthana, Kuppalli, Dr. D.R. Bendre, Rashtriya Smaraka Trust, Dharwad, Dr. Putina Trust, Melukote, Dr. Mallikarjuna Mansoor, Rashtriya Smaraka Trust, Dharwad, Dr. Masti Venkatesha Iyengar Trust, Kolar, Dr. Shivarama Karanta Trust, Dakshina Kannada and Udupi, Alura Venkatarao Trust, Dharwad, Dr. Gangubai Hangal Smaraka Trust, Dharwad, Dr. Basavaraja Rajguru Trust, and Dr. V.K. Gokak Trust.